Hello, I'm Pekkanen. You may also know me as Nuclear, and this is going to be my submission of the Skyrim All Guilds category to AGDQ 2025, sorry. This is going to be a showcase of 4 questlines in the game: the Companions, Thieves Guild, College of Winterhold, and Dark Brotherhood questlines all in one run. And it's also, just as importantly, a showcase of how Skyrim runs have changed over the past couple of months. There's been something of a revolution the past couple of months, and the general strategies of the run look very different now from what they did back when Kronos ran this game at SGDQ 2023. And part of that revolution is that there are a lot more load warps in the run than there used to be. And I feel like load warps are something that historically have not been explained very well at marathons, so it's going to be very important that we're all on the same page with regard to load warps, since they're such an important part of the run now, and since a load warp is basically the first trick in this run, I'm going to get started. And what happens with load warps is they're a form of save where you do something that you're not supposed to at the same time as you load a save. So in this case, we're going to be pausing the game right as we go through a loading zone on the same frame, and we're going to load a save as we do that. And that causes the save to load at the same time as the trigger activates for us to go through a loading zone. And that loading zone is the back exit of Helgen Keep. So we're going to make a save after we get our hands unbound, and then load that save on the same frame as we go through Helgen Keep, and that will cause us to become the character with our hands unbound at the back exit of Helgen Keep, which basically skips running all the way through the Helgen Keep dungeon. So we make a quick save here, load that hard save at the back exit of Helgen Keep, and I missed it the first try. I want to pause the game right as I pass through this loading zone. I also missed the second try. And this is a glitch that was first discovered in Oblivion. People realized that you can pause the game right as you open a door to load warp through a door. And then people figured out how to do it in Skyrim with these loading zones that you walk through, like cave entrances, but nobody could figure out in Skyrim how to load warp through doors, even though both of these types of load warps, these cave entrance load warps and these door load warps, they were both a thing in Fallout 4. But it took 5 more years for someone to figure out how to do this kind of door load warp in Skyrim, and in 2021, Sicklif figured it out, and it's called dead loading, and dead loading completely changed the way that this game is run. Here I'm trying to find a lockpick, because I'm going to need a lockpick. Okay, this guy has a lockpick. And we're going to see a lot of dead loading in this run as a way to load through doors. And originally, dead loading had this really long, complicated setup that prevented it from being useful in runs, but now it's going to be very commonly used this run because I discovered a much faster setup, which is also useful in any percent. Right now we're setting up a horse tilt glitch, so by making a save in third person and dismounting a horse,
I'll let you live this time
at like this near 90-degree angle, then the game is going to try to make our character land on the ground. But since we're at a very steep angle, that calculation essentially breaks, and instead of trying to land on the ground, we just go flying, and we can use that to just fly to anywhere in the map. And we're gonna go to Windhelm, and there's 2 very special things at Windhelm, or near Windhelm. There's the Shrine of Archay, which is useful for this new dead loading setup that we use to load warp through doors. And there's also this particular tanning rack at Windhelm, which is used for a different type of horse tilt called a forge tilt. So there's regular horse tilts, which you just saw, which are used for flying across the map. And right here we're going to kill Grelog, which is going to begin the Dark Brotherhood questline. There's regular horse tilts that you just fly across the map, and what we're going to do now is called a ghost tilt. No, we're not going to do Ghost Tilt right now. We're going to
You have
first
committed crimes
talk to Aventus
Smart.
Aretino, which actually begins the Dark Brotherhood questline. So we did a regular horse tilt. We're next going to do a ghost
Then
tilt,
it's
which
true,
is like a
what
horse
everyone is
tilt,
saying.
but it locks your altitude and you don't have collision, so you're just flying around at a fixed altitude, or you can move around horizontally.
Get what you deserve.
I'm going to duplicate a couple of these buckets and these bowls, so now I have a couple of wooden buckets, a couple of wooden bowls. Talk to Aventus to start the Dark Brotherhood questline. And
My mother, she...
I'm going to use this ghost tilt, which is a type of horse tilt where I have no collision, just fly around at a fixed altitude to discover a bunch of fast travel points.
Really?
And that's basically what ghost tilts are useful for, because the only way to get, because you can't really do much during a ghost tilt, and the only way to get out of the ghost state is to fast travel away. So the only thing you can really do with a ghost tilt is discover fast travel points. So I'm going to load the save that I made on the horse, dismount at a near 90-degree angle, and then load that quick save I made while interacting with that grindstone. And this is a ghost tilt, so I'm going to use this to first discover Sarfall, which I'm having trouble getting the fast travel point for. But there's Sarfall. I'm also going to discover Ysgrimor's Tomb, Dawnstar, and the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary, and these are all locations that we're going to need to fast travel back to later. The Windhelm Stables, where we're going to enter Windhelm by attacking a guard, and the Stormcloak Camp and Dragon Bridge. And finally, the Markarth Stables. Those are all points we're going to need to fast travel to later. Right here, I'm going to use the vendor glitch to get like 1,000 gold from this guy.
If you know, what do you need?
And then, now that we've talked to Aventus Aretino after killing Grelod, just sleeping will cause us to get kidnapped by Astrid. And this begins the Dark Brotherhood questline, which is one of the 4 questlines that we need to complete.
I'll cut off tonight.
Just
The
need to kill one of the people in the
conniving
shack to
Khajiit.
continue.
Of course.
And now we're gonna start the Forge Tilt in the dead loading state. So you might have noticed that I've been grabbing some ingredients with damage health effects. I need to keep my health under 25 during this Forge Tilt, which is a variant of a Ghost Tilt, where you can actually press the activate key to get out of the ghost state, and right there I just deliberately took fall damage to get as close to 0 health as possible. So this is a Forge Tilt. It's called that because we used to think that you could only do Forge Tilts with the Blacksmith Forge, but that particular tanning rack and a few other non-Blacksmith Forge crafting stations can also do Forge Tilts. So this is a Ghost Tilt where we can't access certain menus, which means we can't fast travel during the Ghost Tilt, but we can make saves under locations that we're going to need to load warp into later on. And we can also press the activate key specifically during a Forge Tilt to get out of that Forge Tilt state, and that will warp us to the ground directly above us. So I'm trying to make saves underneath locations that I'll need to load warp into later. And this is the really big thing that has changed in Skyrim speedruns the past couple of months, particularly doing these Forge Tilts while in this dead loading state where I have the Shrine of Arche active, but I am under 25 health. Need to keep eating ingredients with this fortified health effect to stay under 25 health. Now, because I'm going to load a save where I still had those ingredients, I'm going to get those ingredients back. I'm also going to make a save in the dead loading state at the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary door, so that will allow me to load warp back into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary at any point. Basically, to load warp through a door, you need to make a save facing that door while you're below 25 health and while you have that Shrine of Arche still active. And that Shrine of Arcade dead loading setup is the much simpler version of dead loading that I discovered a while ago. Right now we're going to skip like half of the Companion's quest line because there are these Glenmoral witches that you need to kill one of them and take its head to progress through a quest in the middle of the quest line. But if you clip out of bounds in this Glenmoral sanctuary, then there's like these heads just laying on the ground, and if you grab one of them, that just skips half of the Companion's quest line. So the Companion's quest line has a skip basically halfway through the quest line. The Thieves Guild quest line also has a skip basically halfway through the quest line. The College of Winterhold and the Dark Brotherhood quest lines don't have any major skips, so you just have to do those entire quest lines. But by horse tilting directly through a bucket, then you can clip through this wall, which is one of the harder walls to clip through just because it's so rugged. And one of the things that can happen here is you just horse tilt in the complete wrong direction, and yeah, see, it happened here. Horse tilt in the complete wrong direction, and you end up in this loading zone, and because you go through the loading zone so fast, the game kind of freezes, and you have to load back to the main menu. But as you go through this wall, you end up in this cell that you're not supposed to be able to access, take the Glenmoral Witch Head, and then I'm going to load warp back into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. One of the things that you might notice me doing is, as I'm horse tilting to a location that I have to get to,
this, as you can see,
once I've arrived at that location, instead of immediately just canceling my speed, I'm going to make a quick save, load one of those saves that I made in the dead loading state, and because your movement speed persists through saves, I carry over my speed up to a door that I'll need to make a dead load through later, so then I arrive at that door, make a save facing that door, and then load the quick save I made. This is something I realized you could do while I was routing this category, and it essentially, each time you do it, it saves the 6 seconds or so that it takes to set up a new horse tilt. So right now, this is still one of those dead loading saves I made, so I'm just dead loading my main character into Dragon's Reach, and this is a faster way to get into Whiterun, where I go back to Jorvaskr, and I need to get into dead loading state again, so I'm going to take fall damage again, because I need to make a save facing the, in the tavern in Whiterun, because I'll need to go back there in the Dark Brotherhood questline, so that's another place that I'll be load warping into. Also, some of these load warps are frame perfect. There are some load warps that you have to do
Watch the eyes.
basically by pressing the E key frame perfectly after finishing the loading screen, and others you can just mash through to get through.
Where?
So some of these load warps are pretty much free, some of them are quite hard.
Haven't
So
seen your
you can
face
see
before.
we just skipped half of the Companion's quest line.
We're going to make them.
Right now, I'm going to do the Dark Brotherhood contract to kill Baitlid, which is the first of the contracts of the Dark Brotherhood questline, and after I've completed one contract, you only need to complete one of these 3 contracts. After you've completed one, you can continue the Dark Brotherhood questline. So I'm going to kill Baitlid, and then I'm going to load warp back to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. I don't know what that glitch was, where I just wasn't casting. I don't know why that happened. But after I kill Baitlid, I won't be able to fast travel away, so instead I'm just going to load warp directly into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. You may notice that after each of these loading screens, I'm getting this fade from black animation, so I quick save and quick load, and that skips this animation. You'll notice now I'm quick save and quick loading, and each time I do that, it skips one line of dialogue, and that just allows me to skip through these scenes with lots of dialogue really quickly. So that just skips straight through the scene with Cicero arriving at the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. Now I can talk to Astrid to get my next quest.
You must go. The girl's. Her name is
I need
Muiri.
to talk to Muiri, who was going to tell me to kill Elaine Dufont and Raldfar, And Relfar is one of those locations that we made one of those dead loading saves under. So I'm going to load warp into Relfar, and she hasn't told me who I need to kill yet, but we know who we need to kill. We need to kill Elaine Defont and Relfar. So I'm going to horse tilt directly to Elaine Defont, and I'm going to quick save when I'm near Elaine Defont, and then I'm going to load one of those dead loading saves that I made in the horse tilt state, which will carry over my momentum and allow me to make a new dead loading save directly facing a door. And in this case, I'm going to make one underneath Volan Rune, which is a place I need to go later, and one underneath Snowvale Sanctum, which is a place I need to go later, and hopefully one under the Tavern in Winterhold, which is also a place I'll need to go later. In this particular tilt, I wasn't able to carry enough speed, so I did have to load my horse tilt save again. But this will put me... and we're making a lot of saves in front of a lot of doors, but each time we make a save in front of the door, as long as we have the Shrine of Arcade and are under 25 health, then we can just go through that door.
Looks like we got ourselves a
and
hero.
killing Elaine Defont, I'm just going to load warp into the next stage of the Companion's quest line, Driftsade Refuge, and here we get to see a trick that's used for passing through barred doors. If you are holding a one-handed weapon in your right hand, you can do a sneaking backwards power attack, and that moves the camera far back enough that you can activate the door from the other side. It's easy to do. You can do this at home, and that's just a fast and easy way to go straight through barred doors. You'll notice I made also this dead loading save at the Hall of the Dead that simply lets me teleport from an interior to an exterior so that I can fast travel away. I'm going to go start Codlock's funeral and then fast travel away and fast travel back later, and once I'm back, then the funeral will have started. Come on, Eurland.
Who will?
Right now I'm going to set up another glitch called cutscene control, and this is a glitch that you perform by just setting up your
Never done
marriage
an honest
and
day's.
then
I'm
failing
saying
your
you've got the
marriage.
coin. Oh,
So
but that
first I'm going to
maybe
talk
you'd
to
like
bring
a
you off to
taste.
start the Thieves
I've
Guild
got a
quest
bit,
line,
and in my
but
line of
as you'll
work,
see, the Thieves Guild,
simple.
once
you have it,
start the quest line,
there's
there's a
someone
massive skip to
no,
halfway through the
you
quest
tell me
line.
when. Good.
So starting the quest line, I'm going to intentionally fail the job that Brynjolf has for
This
me
is
because that's
blessings of-
faster.
Wonderful.
And instead,
How may I
I'm
help?
going to use
Yes,
that
if you
1,000
were
or
ready.
so gold
Typically
that
love-
I got from the
What do you need?
Stormcloak
Here you
Quartermaster to
Now,
Enough,
remember,
boss.
my skill in
more
Skyrim, the
followers
master of
for
magic.
followers,
Teach yourself.
and I'm only
You'll
buying
find
him
more
for
people
followers
into why would
because
love.
then
It's
I
settled.
can marry him, and after I set up the marriage,
Good
then
afternoon.
I
You
can
wish to be married?
deliberately
If
fail
you-
the marriage,
Good to
see love's
which,
love.
Well, at least
allows
I get-
me to
but never
cancel
mind.
a
There's
cutscene
plenty of
and
gold out
regain
there.
control of
All
my
right.
character during a cutscene. So I'm going to set that up in a little bit. First, I'm going to complete the quest with Mwiri. Again, I'm going to do one of those things where I horse tilt, and once I've gotten to the location that I want to get to, I'm going to make a quick save, load one of those forge tilt saves, and make another dead loading save at another door that I want to work through. It's basically a way to get double your utility, kill two birds with one stone with a single horse tilt. You can both move your actual character that you're going to complete the game with, and you can also make dead loading saves, and up to one dead loading save that is directly facing the door you want to go to, which in this case is Labyrinthian, which we need to go to at the end of the college quest line. And I kind of realized you could do this after I was working with figuring out all this stuff with forge tilts and dead loading, which only really became a thing in the run a couple months ago. And now we're going to complete the next quest in the Dark Brotherhood quest line. Just talking to Mwiri,
Why are
tell
you
her
looking at me
that
like that?
we
The Dark
already killed
Brotherhood.
Elaine Defont.
What I need? What?
And load warp back into we are load warping into Snowvale Sanctum, which is where we're going to skip half of the Thieves Guild questline. I'm going to make a hard save here just in case I fail this load warp because it is frame perfect. Okay, so if I actually go outside in this save, then since I'm load warping from Markarth to Snowvale Sanctum, then that isn't frame perfect, so that should make it easier. Except in some cases it might still be frame perfect, but in this case I just got it by mashing. So I'm gonna bull clip through this wall, and that'll get me to a place where we're not supposed to go, and that essentially skips half the Thieves Guild questline, but it also starts a cutscene, which we're going to skip with cutscene control. So I'm gonna make a quick save here in case I fail it. Wait, and this fails my wedding because I waited too long. And failing your wedding gives you control during a cutscene. And at this point, a countdown starts, and when that countdown ends, the game is going to teleport me back outside of Snowvale Sanctum. So I'm going to use this time to do the next step of the Dark Brotherhood questline, which is to eavesdrop on Cicero.
Ah, you're back. Now, but it's... Who is he speaking with?
I'm going to hopefully get
Maybe
into
so.
the Night Mother's coffin
It'll
right
be no
before the game teleports
inside.
me outside
Be
of
that as it
Snowvale
may,
Sanctum.
we have no other choice. You need to remain unseen.
This is actually very consistent. And we just skipped half the Thieves Guild questline. The game is going to progress as if we did the first half of the Thieves Guild questline. But we also needed to begin the Thieves Guild questline with that quest with Grimnoth, or else we wouldn't even be able to enter the Thieves Guild, which would be a problem.
Mercer must be brought before before both of you arrived. I wish I knew. Enther. It's the only outsider. There were three.
So you'll notice we're doing a lot of alternating between these three quest lines, but we haven't started the College of Winterhold quest line yet. We're only really going to start that once we get an item that will get most of the way through the Dark Brotherhood.
I'll need to prepare them for mount.
Route.
Don't get.
And the reason why the Jaren route is so
I'm not
useful
sure
is
I'm the
because
best.
when we eat
Thank
it,
you. I'll be
because
here.
we're playing on the easiest difficulty, because we're speedrunners, we want to beat it fast as possible. Because we're playing on the easiest difficulty, eating the Jaren route does 100 damage, which is perfect for getting under 25 health, which is perfect for setting up dead loads. So right now, just continuing the Companion's quest line by getting a Fragment of Wuthrad. Now, because we just teleported from the Night Mother's Coffin out of the Night Mother's Coffin because of that trigger that happens during the Thieves Guild questline, we can just go back to Cicero and confront him and pretend that we've been overhearing him this whole time to continue the Dark Brotherhood questline.
Poor Cicero has failed
But this
you.
is something that has never really happened to me before, where I actually got back here too quickly, and that meant that Cicero's dialogue hadn't quite finished.
In and out of Vardenfell in less than 40.
So I'm struggling to get Cicero's attention here.
Triplets secretly, and then have the whole thing.
What? Speak, worm!
Cheat.
And there is...
Cheat.
Now that this is done, the Dark Brotherhood is going to make me complete one more of those jobs. And the fastest one of those jobs is to kill Narfi and Iverstead.
When I heard Cicero scream, then what in Sithis' name? What? So Cicero and the knight to
But what
you?
we're going to do first is talk to Entheory and Winterhold to continue
what
the Thieves Guild questline.
But
And
Valenrude.
of course, I made that save outside the tavern in Winterhold, so I'm just going to use that save, which I made at the deadload state, which is just whenever
I could do
we have the
this
Shrine of
all
Arche
day.
active, and we're under
Here's your
25
payment.
health, so it took more than 100 damage.
More
So
work?
I'm going to quick save here, load that, dead loading save I made outside. Is that it? No. Here I go actually first to Volenrund. And this is where I'm going to make a hard save outside Volenrund and continue the Dark Brotherhood questline.
By the almighty divine... Yeah, I dare say. As I'm sure so... But you should... The Emperor. Oh, wonderful.
So this is the big twist in the Dark Brotherhood questline. We're supposed to kill the Emperor. But there's like 3 other jobs that I have to do before killing the Emperor. And now I'm going to just continue the Thieves Guild questline by dead loading into...
Carmine, do you have Gallus's journal? Problem. No, he's written all of the... No. However, I know someone...
And you'd have me do what?
Since I'm already in Winterhold, I'm going to begin the College of Winterhold questline, but I won't really do any of it just yet until I have that item, the Jaren room, which is helpful for making dead loading saves at the entrance to the college.
But what?
Which I definitely
It would
going
seem
to need.
not just a small test. Those invested in restoration. No. Or you can try your luck. Here you are.
I'm also going to buy 2 spells. One is Frostbite, one is Firebolt.
I think I'll lead you across
will be helpful
the college is
specifically for killing
so,
Marfi
you
and
wish to
not
master
in
the
any other
arcane
fight,
arts.
and Frostbite will be helpful specifically in this one puzzle
Mirabelle will
later
be
in the
waiting.
College of Winterhold questline. That's the only reason I buy those 2 spells. I'm also doing a bit of vendor glitching there so that I have some extra money because I'm going to kill Narfi and I may just need to pay my 1,000 gold bounty.
Heard about what you did, killing those foul bitches.
But it looks like Narfi is in his shack anyway, so I can just kill him without even getting a bounty. Now we get to parkour our way up to the tower, but first, to progress the quest line, we need to actually enter Calsalmo's museum, which means I need to steal the key to the museum off of this guy.
The Dwemer Museum
then
isn't
enter
open
the
to anyone with...
museum.
You have committed crimes against...
Typical Imperial lie.
All right, then.
And now that I've entered the museum, I can leave this museum by just
Smart.
having one of those guards arrest me, and then I can actually enter the laboratory, which is where I need to go for the Thieves Guild quest line, to make a rubbing of Enfyr's Falmer translating guide, which I need to translate Gallus's journal, to figure out what happened to the Nightingales, basically. There is not a lot of time to explain what is actually going on in this story, especially since there are 4 different storylines happening at the same time, and there is so much going on gameplay-wise. But that parkour can be pretty tricky anyway. I'm going to get a roll of paper and charcoal. This is just what you're supposed to do in the Thieves Guild questline, and then load warp back to Enfyr, where I finished the Falmer translating guide. This, it turns out, is one of those frame-perfect load warps. So I think it takes me a couple tries here. This run, I forgot to mention, is a personal best that I got 2 days ago. It is 10 seconds off from the official world record. Official world record is 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 7 seconds. This is 1 hour, 16 minutes, 17 seconds. Although unofficially, Laz did get a time of like
They said it's not
a few
safe.
minutes faster at some point. He just never submitted it for some reason.
A rubbing, eh? I understand.
One thing that you're going to see a lot of in this run is just entering and exiting doors repeatedly to skip dialogue. sometimes, most of the time, you can just repeatedly quick save, quick load to skip dialogue, but for certain dialogue, that doesn't cut it. You have to repeatedly enter and exit for room.
Do whatever you can, and if Trump...
We must hasten to Riften before you've come this. The Twilight Sepulchre is the everything. Now it seems Mercer's. I felt the same. I think given
We're going
time
to
we'll
continue the
understand.
Dark Brotherhood
As a
quest
nightingale,
line.
I know
Again,
the
with
guild
the
doesn't do
Dark
much
Brotherhood
to follow.
quest line,
I'll make for in the meantime.
we
If the
need
guild isn't
to
willing.
complete one more job, which we just did by killing Narfi, and then that'll allow the quest line to progress. Again, load warping back into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary.
We need to talk. Look. You're back. Good.
Since we already went to Volan
You're
Ruined, Astrid
joking. What's
tried to tell
this?
us we needed to go to Volan Ruined, but we
Right.
already went there, so we can
As a
just
matter
go
of
straight
fact,
back to her.
No. I don't know You think I don't... But this is all so much to take. I'm thinking we need that amulet appraised. I want to know...
Going down to the route way to both continue the Thieves Guild quest line and simultaneously continue the Dark Brotherhood quest line. This is part of the reason why we overlap kind of the Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild quest lines early in the game, so that
I don't know.
once we go down
They
here,
skin
we
us
can do
alive
both of
over
them at
here
the same
doing
time. Again, I'm mashing quick save and quick load while I grab that bucket to duplicate a couple of copies of that bucket.
Never should
That
have
only
come
works
here.
with static items that are pre-placed on the ground in
I'm
the
glad
game
you're.
and not
Are you
items
ready
that
to
you
face the
dropped.
guild? Keep your eyes open.
But that allows you to duplicate a couple of copies of any item as you pick it up.
Give it up, Renyo. Those days are over.
I'm telling you.
The
This
storage
one is
cabinet is
different.
supposed to be locked,
We've all
but
heard that one
because
before,
we
Bryn.
just did that
Quit
job for
kidding
Brynjolf,
yourself.
Brynjolf is going to open it.
The time for talk has passed. We.
And now we're simultaneously one quest into the Thieves
All
Guild
right.
quest line.
You better
and
have a
also
damn good
halfway
reason
through
to
the
be
Thieves
here
Guild
with that
quest line.
murderer.
This is going to be more opening and closing a door repeatedly to skip all this dialogue between Karliah, Brynjolf, Vex, and Delvin. Which I guess is a good time to talk about what's really been going on the past couple of months in this category. So, Sicklif discovered
Fred, I'll
deadloading
pluck his
in
eyes from his skull with
2021.
my
This
bare
meant that there
hands.
was
Well,
finally a
yeah,
way to load warp through
let's
doors in Skyrim the
wait.
same way you could in
Look,
Oblivion
it
and
ain't my
Fallout 4.
boy.
Need to stay
Um,
focused in case Fred.
But there was this really complicated setup that involved both some RNG and finding the
Look,
ingredients you needed
before I
to
help
do alchemy,
trying to
and
make-
then a lot of
was there
time spent
anything
doing
else?
alchemy and
Aye.
a lot of menuing that
Anything
just
else?
made it not viable
What?
for most categories.
Was there anything else she told?
And then
I haven't.
in
I need
June
you to
of
break
this
into.
year,
Aye.
I discovered
He never stays
that
there.
you
Be careful.
can
Just find a way in. Get
that
the
there's a much
information.
faster setup where instead of making a lot of specific potions and drinking a lot of potions, all you have
Careful.
to do is get the Shrine of Arche, which gives you 25 points fortify health,
Careful.
and then just take damage until you're below 25 health, and that's enough of the setup
Careful.
to execute dead loading. Way faster setup.
Careful.
And one of the things I realized after that is that dead loading has a lot of synergy with that glitch forge tilting, that other type of
Good,
force
you're
tilting
back.
that
The
was discovered by Jesse
Was
about
Mallory
4 years
willing to
ago.
Splendid. Now then. Well, oh yeah. And they
Because
say
if
Rome.
you
Her name is
make a
Vittoria
forge
Vici.
tilting save
She oversees
while
the
in the dead loading state and at very low health, then you can make as many saves in the dead loading state as you want during that forge tilting.
By order of the artist.
Smart.
And this means you really want to make a single forge tilt save in the dead loading state, and you want that to be at crafting station, both that you consistently get forge tilts off of, that's at a low altitude because you can only upwarp with forged shields. You can't downwarp, so you need to be able to upwarp to all of the locations you want to go to. And also has a nice source of fall damage nearby.
Let's see
so
his eminence.
you can
With
get fall
Vichi's
damage to consistently get to very low health. And eventually I found that that tanning rack has all of those properties. And the funny thing is, we used to think that
with the Emperor,
the only type of crafting station you can get forged hilts with is the blacksmith forge. And because I thought that, I had tested every blacksmith forge in the game, and I found, and the only blacksmith forge is that's at a low enough altitude to upwarp into all the locations we need to upwarp to is the one in Dawnstar. And the problem with the one in Dawnstar is that it only actually gives you forged hilts something like 20% of the time, and it feels like it's basically already.
That's all you got.
But as I was testing Dawnstar to see if there's a way to get forged hilts off of it consistently, I was testing it on my stream, and Waz, like the goat of Skyrim speedrunning, basically he hopped in my chat and he said he thought he remembered there also being a blacksmith forge in Windhelm at the Windhelm docks. And I knew there wasn't one, so I went there to show him that there wasn't one. And there wasn't one, but then, like a week later, I remembered that exchange, and I was like, maybe I should try to see if you could get a forged hilt at the Windhelm docks anyway. Now, I had already tested like 25 other crafting stations that weren't blacksmith forges to see if you can get forged hilts off of any of them, and I couldn't find a single one that you can get forged hilts off of. So this led me to conclude that you could only get forged hilts off blacksmith forges. But that tanning rack at the Windhelm docks, not only can you get a forged hilt off of it, you could get forged hilts off of it 100% consistently, and it's at a low altitude, and there's a nearby source of fall damage. So that just makes it absolutely stellar conditions for setting up deadloads. So we just got through a bunch more of Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood questlines. I'm gonna take a minute to get a glass of water.
We've scoured. Any luck on your end? Sure, if he gets his hands on them. Agreed. I've spoken quickly. We have no time to lose.
You might notice that whenever we've been in the Dark Brotherhood Silver and up to that point, we have to go through whatever we need to do there very fast because we're trespassing. We're not supposed to be there, and if we stay there too long, then everyone there will just attack us. But once we get to that point in the quest line, then everyone is just suddenly cool with us being there again.
Oh. Yeah.
Just try.
Seeing a lot more quick save, quick loading to skip dialogue.
Marrow is dead. The fool went. Look, we've got to. Look, we've got to deal with this situation. I took
Hush,
that
Rizara.
prancing
You
fool
were
into
very
my
great.
home.
Ask him.
Have you found something? Good, good. The dawn. Never mind. Every moment. Find on. And then.
Again, we're going to load warp out using that save I made at the Hall of the Dead. The reason I made this save at the Hall of the Dead is there's another Shrine of RK right there, just in case my Shrine of RK runs out and I need to refresh it to make more download saves.
Gotta admit, in there.
I accidentally didn't go far enough through a grand dialogue there, so I'm going to need to close out of this Black Door dialogue, talk about Armborn again.
what? Yeah, gotta admit that. In there. Through the... Alright.
What is life's greatest illusion?
There is this horse tilt through a bucket, this whole out-of-bounds horse tilt button flip that you can do to get straight to Cicero through the sanctuary here. But I hate pet scraps, so I don't do it. Instead, I just do one of those cats through the barn door.
Astrid knew her stupid wolf couldn't slay. Frost respects the listener's abilities of...
Oh yeah, so after talking to Cicero, we load warp out, but because we load warp out, the quest doesn't actually update until we fast travel back to Midonstar Sanctuary and just point our cursor at the door. Now we're going to do a pretty short horse tilt out of Riften to Nightingale Hall.
Wait. Wait.
Make a quick save. I kind of went too far here, but that's okay. Load the save I made at the Forge Tilt save, and going to make a dead loading save facing the door to Mzulft. Once I'm done with that, I passed right by Nightingale Hall, so I'm going to fast travel there. This is where we're going to continue with the Thieves Guild quest line.
We've
Big
come
Surprise,
to seek the edge.
Carlia,
If you'll follow me.
Gallus, and Ursula are all Nightingales. Agents of Nocturnal, Daedric Prince.
The assumption that the...
I'm trying to understand.
This isn't a...
Basically, all of the major guilds in this game are secretly cults of Daedra worshippers. You're about to see here that some lines of dialogue actually can't be skipped by quick save, quick loading, so we just have to sit through those lines of dialogue. Waiting
This is
for
enough to
quest
make your head
trigger.
spin, eh?
I am required to wear my Nightingale armor for this part.
Okay, lad.
Beyond this gate...
What's...
The terms are quite simple, Brynjolf. Nocturnal will allow you to become a knight in...
Aye.
What about you? Good. We'll speak when the oath is complete. I call...
Carlia. I was wondering when I'd hear from you again. Lose something, did we?
Is this glitch called the NPC?
You're already mine, Carlia. Your
where
terms were struck
you
long ago.
Attempt to
What
cast,
could you
but
possibly
fail to
offer
cast
me
any
now?
reanimation spell near an NPC.
You surprised me, Carlia. This offer is definitely weighted in my favor.
That you will need to talk to later in a quest line. You can use this
Revenge.
NPC glitch.
How interesting.
To follow you, and then when you need to talk to
Very
them,
well.
then you can just
The
talk to them.
conditions are acceptable. You may
And this can
proceed.
potentially save like multiple
Lady
minutes in
Nocturnal,
this category, I
we
think, but I
accept your
completely
terms.
forgot to actually
We
figure
dedicate
out how to
ourselves
implement
to
it
you
into the
as
category.
both your avengers
So that's
and your
something that
sentinels.
I'm going to do very soon.
Very
but I
well.
didn't have time to
I
do it
name your
before the
initiates Nightingale,
submission period.
and I restore your status to the same, Carlisle.
Still, I'm definitely going to use
And in the
that
future,
to beat
I'd suggest you refrain from disappointing me
probably also
again.
be the unofficial world record in this category.
Now that you've transacted the... Merc... By doing this, he's... Well... All of... Once you realize the key... Although it would... If the key... As time passed, our luck... Very true. Before we depart...
Listen, lass. Carlia, thanks
Also,
to
Carlia
as a
has
result,
some of the worst written dialogue
I've been
in
out.
this game.
I'm good at.
I really
I've never
can't
been
stand
one
her
to lead.
dialogue.
Well, we have a bit of an errand. Then it's this. Until then, I've been poring over the. Until next.
That's not something I would say at GDQ, but I just had to say it here. So right now we're into Ghost
Now, ain't
State.
this a surprise?
I'm gonna try to fall down very carefully to make a save in front of Erkingfund. Even though the door to Erkingfund, you're gonna see that it's locked. It's actually unlocked in the save that we're trying to dead warp it to it through, because we're at that point in the quest line where we can actually access it. So after making this save just for safety, we can dead warp straight into Erkingfund, and that is where Mercer is and where he's trying to seal the Eye of the Thalmor, and we're going to catch him and get the skeleton key, which we're going to take back to Nocturnal. I'm gonna wait for a minute here until those red dots on the compass disappear, so that I'm officially not in combat, so then I can talk to Carlia.
Mercer's been
and
here.
she won't bug out.
Brynjolf, we have to catch up to him before. We
I
should
also
tread
want
carefully.
to wait until
wouldn't
she
be
actually
surprised if he's left
finishes
behind
this
a few
line of
surprises
dialogue,
for us.
because then again, her pathing will bug out. She has a habit of just not following you whenever you do anything weird and just disappearing somewhere, and then making the quest line difficult to complete because you have no idea where she is. It can be quite annoying, but there are some consistent ways to avoid this. I'm gonna horse tilt through of a bucket to just clip out of bounds and go straight to Mercer. And he's standing right there, and once we pass the trigger, he's normally supposed to disappear from this place, but we can just pickpocket the skeleton key from him, and that skips most of the quest.
This place is coming down.
Fortunately for us, Carlia is following us there, so we won't have to go all the way back through the first half of that dungeon. So we're gonna just load warp out. And we're actually gonna load warp into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. This particular load warp is one of the frame perfect ones. You might notice that the caps lock on my input display is broken, so I don't really know what to do about that. It's just always going to be like that. I was going to load warp directly into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary, but I was having trouble with that load warp, which is why instead I'm going to just load warp outside to the Falkreath Hall of the Dead and then just fast travel to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary instead of load warping there directly.
Arnbjorn is safe. Tell you what, and now that this Cicero, there's just one more.
There you... But first, you'll need to learn. Don't be so... Seems to be a... I believe. Oh.
We need to kill the gourmet as
Next,
part of
you'll have to...
the next step toward killing the Emperor. But first we need to
This place is coming
figure
down.
out the
Let's get
gourmet's
out.
identity.
What is it with you and all these questions? Very well. Ask away.
Yes, yes, for the 100th. Who are you? The... Never. I don't know. The Dark Brother. Now, look. Now you're... Okay, all right.
Rid yourself with that fire.
Don't burn anything down.
We know that Gourmet is at Nightgate Inn, so... Earlier, we made a dead loading save in Forest Field State below the ocean, so now we can just dead warp in there. Load warp in there, take the rite of passage, and now we're going to actually finish the quest to escape from Birkenfand by escaping, so to speak, through the back exit by entering the back exit and passing through a load trigger. I promise you this is way faster than completing the actual entire quest.
Bless you, Lady of Shadows. I live another day.
But this bucket clip can be kind of hard. One of the things you'll see me doing as I do object clips like bucket clips is dropping them and then quick saving and loading a different save and then loading that quick save, which unloads and deloads the object that I'm using to clip out of bounds. And that means that makes the object's physics behave more nicely in a way that makes these clips easier, but I'm still kind of struggling with this one. There we go. Jump through here. That counts as us escaping from
remains is to ensure that I'm afraid it. When the skull, the only way to bring it back, it wasn't created as a consequence.
Which means we're almost done with the Thieves Guild questline.
I'm afraid you'll have to face the end of. Take this with you.
But now we're going to continue the Dark Brotherhood questline. Since we killed Balogrog, that means we get to the point of the Dark Brotherhood questline where we get the Jaren route. And because we get the Jaren route, we can finally begin the College of Winterhold questline.
Good, good.
And now, Titus. Oh, yeah. Oh. You'll gain unrestricted. Here.
Now, by eating the Jaren root, I just take 100 damage, and by also eating a few other ingredients with a ravage health effect, or a damage health effect, sorry. Then I can be below 25 health when I make these dead loading saves.
Of course.
And then I want to reload a save that I made.
You know,
when I
they
still
say
have
knowledge
those items,
is
so that I get those items back after I make those dead loading saves. This is first lesson skip.
Your concerns
Kill
are not
one of the apprentices, exit so that you don't get attacked back, and re-enter. And boom.
Yes, well, after the unfortunate
You know, this is
incident
one of very
occurred,
few places where you can
best
receive a real education in the...
Come quietly, by order of the Jarl. Smart.
Lazy and useless.
Yeah, I still had that bounty from
Stop right there.
I just
What's this
escaped
now?
by dead loading away, but then, thanks to that bounty, I got arrested, taken to jail, which saved some time on movement going to
On another delivery.
the Emperor's
The
Tower,
gourmet.
where I'm going to kill
It's
the fake
just-
Emperor. Plot twist.
You're a
Turns out
high
this
up-
is a decoy.
The Emperor.
Anyway,
But the cook, the
I
base
select
broth
all
is
of
already
the
boiled.
fastest dialogue
Ooh,
options here.
what next? My choice then? Okay.
Almost every dialogue
Well,
that
I
you
have to
do
say that
during
excellent.
the Dark Brotherhood
And if I may,
questline has an option where you just remain silent.
But aren't you even the
And
least bit nervous after
the way
everything
I
that's
think
happened?
is kind of cool
You mean the
how they
wedding?
just handled
My cousin's
that, where
apparent
every
murder?
character just responds
An
to you just
unfortunate
remaining silent in a
misunderstanding.
different way.
No more.
Anyway.
Cold mead, hot tempers. These things
There's no way to skip this section. We have
Quite.
to wait until
Yet that recent
Gianna
business
comes
with
up
the
here.
young officer, Nara, was
Because
it?
the fake
How
emperor literally
dreadful.
doesn't spawn until
The
Gianna
son of
comes
your
up here.
commander plotting your assassination.
Yes.
Here we are.
Truth is, we are in.
I'm
Oh,
getting out.
This section can be skipped, and I totally forgot that you can just load warp away before this whole sequence of Commander Morrow.
That man was, by
confronting
far,
Yo.
the most insufferable
So
decoy.
that's going to be like a free 30 seconds of time save for my next run.
You're...
What in the...
But anyway, since we did that quest, now the other college apprentices are at Starfall, so we can go straight to Starfall. One skip that I realized you can do
I'm here with-
in
All right.
the College of Winterhold quest line is, since the next quest in the quest line is at Felglow Keep, if you go to Felglow Keep early, when the keep, the main entrance is still unlocked, if you go inside and then kill one of the mages and loot the key,
As some of you may know,
then you'll be able to use the main entrance later once it's locked after the main quest line actually starts. So I'm gonna make a dead loading save here, but first I need to go deeper in Starfall to begin the Starfall quest. And after I've begun the quest, I can load warp through that door, which is the back exit to the second room of Starfall, and that'll skip straight to the boss. So after the place turns blue, I quick save and load warp into Felglow Keep. I think this is the right save. Yeah. Now I'm the character that just got the cutscene in Starfall, but I'm in Felglow Keep. Make another quick save after looting the key, and I'm going to load warp to the second room of Starfall. This particular run, I don't know why I failed this clip so many times. Like, it shouldn't be a hard clip. But for some reason, I failed it like a minute. It's like a whole minute of failed attempts. I think I eventually realized I needed to unload and reload that wooden bowl again. No, why did I try to clip through there? That's not going to work. Oh, this is taking me a long time. Yeah. That took a while. Anyway, we just skipped through
what
the
just
whole dungeon,
happened?
but I'm not even sure
I'm
what we
afraid.
did was faster
Can
if
you
I
tell
just
me
going
more
through
about
it
what
normally.
the Sig and danger? The Sigix. Perhaps we should take a look in.
12 tiers AI can be pretty buggy here, so we want to make sure that he actually does what he's supposed to do.
Is someone there? Nothing seems to work. Keep it. There. Now attack. Be prepared.
I have no idea what went on with that textures of air. Anyway, by load warping directly to the college instead of fast traveling to it, the Archmage won't be in the Archmage's
You are relatively
quarters,
new
which
here.
saves a little bit of time from not having to go to the Archmage's
What you learn?
quarters.
Please don't tell me that. I thank you for bringing.
You are not disrupt now. Do you well, you don't even need to ask. I said not it.
At this point, the door to Felgo Keep gets locked, but luckily we eluded the key earlier, which means we can load warp in, but this is still a frame perfect load warp. Got it third try though.
There's someone.
So, how nice to... You're dead.
Gonna grab the free decks, and then since we load warp from here directly back to the college, that means Orog won't be in the Arcanium, and we can talk to him directly. This is also a frame perfect load warp. Second try though. Nice.
Alright, that's enough. Let's return to our business.
What do you want? Well, well.
I think the
Fight
college is
well.
due for a change in leadership.
Did he now? Does he have information about? Is that the? I'll have to. I just can't see.
Please.
This. Art.
I need you to come with me immediately. Really? More important. So we're going to go have a little...
I really have no idea how to make Ankano do what I want him to do here, which is just walk back to that door.
They say knowledge is its own
immediately
reward.
instead of just wandering around here. I don't know why he just wanders around. Okay, now he's walking back. Cool.
If you...
Kano, can you please hurry up? Thank you.
Now.
It is good to meet you in person. I've given us the situation. I believe it. The energy, the longer it remains here, I'm afraid you must have my present. I'm all too. Nevertheless, my order will. I presume.
We left
Bethol,
off
I assure you
after
that we
killing
mean
the
it.
fake
As you may have,
Emperor and
the
then
world,
Commander Nomaru
indeed,
told
many in the
us
order,
that he
we
is
believe.
destroying the Dark
I
Brotherhood Sanctuary,
his
so we
perception
wanna
may
load
be
warp
more.
back there. Once we load warp back there, we need to stand outside for a few seconds to make sure the quest actually updates, because the game isn't expecting us to load warp there directly. So we need to take a few moments to let the quest update. before we actually go back inside. So notice I'm waiting until it says map updated in the top left, right there.
Dunno. One of these. What was that?
We want to kill all of these Penitus Oculatus agents so that Zir doesn't stay aggro. We can talk to him.
If I am to die today, so be it. You'll not soon forget the Dark Brother. By so you are and so you've got so you are alive. You've got people to kill.
Listener, I am your only salvation. Come.
After this, we're going to need to wait a few moments for the Night Mother's dialogue to complete, after we kill Astrid, of course. So, kill Astrid, find out that she set us up, she wanted to have us killed, and then go to talk to the Augur of Dunlane to continue the college quest line.
You must speak with Astrid. Here in the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary.
Whoa, whoa. I don't know.
Shh. I'm sorry. Hope I said this. But you're... Don't you see? I'm safe. Thank you.
Astrid is dead.
We're going to load warp into the Midden, using a save that you may not have noticed me make, but this is the part under the college where we go to talk to the Augur of Dunlane. He's going to tell us what... He's going to reluctantly tell us what we need to defeat Ancano.
But while you live, the Dark Brotherhood lives. We must fulfill our contract. Emperor Titus Meade II must be eliminated.
Very well.
Speak with Armand Mortier at the Bannered Mare in Whiterun. He will know the true Emperor's location.
Your efforts.
But first, inform Nasir of your plans. For you are the listener, and must bind this family together.
Seek. Indeed. And so you have come looking, though you do not know why. Like others before you, you blindly follow a path to your own destruction. The Thalmor came seeking answers as well, unaware they will be his undoing. Your path now follows his, though you will arrive too late. The one who calls himself Ancano. He seeks information about the Eye, but what he will find shall be quite different. His path will cross yours in time, but first you must find that which you need. You, and those aiding you, wish to know more about the Eye of Magnus. You wish to avoid the disaster of which you are not yet aware. To see through Magnus's eye without being blinded, you require his staff.
events now spiral quickly towards the inevitable center. So you must act with haste. Take this knowledge to your archmage.
Now we're finally going to use that deadling save
By
I made
what?
facing the tavern in
Well,
Whiterun way back.
among
Hope you
Motier?
forgot about
You
that.
mean there's still a chance?
Come. Be careful.
What is it? Please, you mustn't. You mean, after all? You may go. You may. You may go.
Got
You
another
may-
frame per load warp where it probably would have been faster to just run outside
may-
of the Banner Mare. And then just do a not
You
frame
may-
perfect load warp to the college.
You may. You may.
I'm a monk. I hope we didn't offend him some. What you... Really? I'm sorry. Well, hi. And how do you know of... Did you read... And he I'm a most... Something... I seem to recall...
Please don't... Well, now that's an odd question. I see. I only brought... They were apparently under the impression... My I was quite... It became clear they're trying to... No one... The Synod seemed convinced...
Looks like I accidentally loaded the wrong save here at first. Loaded the Erkenfin save instead of himself save.
Crystal. Find.
Hmm?
Meant to load the horse tilt save here. I'm gonna try to do a horse tilt through Zulft. I remember this being not a very good horse tilt. Yeah, it just got stuck in there, which can happen, unfortunately. Definitely something I've got to work on. Yeah, we need to find the Synod guy to figure out where the Staff of Magnus is. To control the Eye of Magnus. So this is definitely something I'm going to need to practice. What we're about to see is a run of scroll duplication. So scroll duplication relies on the same menu glitch that makes vendor glitch possible. Vendor glitch being the way that I can just steal gold from any vendor in the game to just get as much gold from that vendor as I need and to be able to buy all of their stuff for free. Scroll glitch uses essentially that same menu glitch to get as many copies of a scroll in your hands as you need, and we're gonna do this with a scroll that we're about to find in this dungeon, which is always there. It's Scroll of Chain Lightning, and that'll just let us cast Chain Lightning as many times as we need. But we can only equip this Scroll Dupe Chain Lightning while we have the scroll and we're at some kind of container like a chest, and we can only use it after we leave the scroll in that chest and we don't have it with us, otherwise it'll consume the scroll. So there's definitely some logistical difficulties with making this work, because if we ever need to equip any other object, like, say, a sword in our hand for doing those backwards one-handed power attacks through those barred doors, then we would have to unequip the Chain Lightning, and then to re-equip it, we would have to go back to where we got the scroll, and go to a container, and use the vendor, and use the scroll duping glitch again to re-equip it. But as you're going to see, we're going to put the Scroll of Chain Lightning in a container up ahead, use the scroll dupe, and then use the scroll dupe to kill the Falmer who has the focusing crystal, and then take that scroll back out of the container so that we have it for later. While the scroll is in our inventory, then we can't use Chain Lightning anymore, otherwise it'll consume the scroll and make it impossible to use the scroll again. Now we use that Frostbite spell that we bought from Feralda a while ago. What do you need to focus?
Here? It was the fall
Ocular.
And you, if you're here, it didn't work. Well, I was. Gavros had to cart it all. You found. That's it. In fact, who? Savos. I don't much. Come on, I'll explain on the way. What the? No matter what Gavros said, this was my idea first. The council is going to know that when I get back. I was the one who thought of using this ocular. I don't know what the dwarves called it. Something unpronounceable, I'm sure. From all our research, it seems they were intent on discerning the nature of the divine. This machinery, all of it, was designed to collect starlight, and then, I'm not sure, split it somehow? It was my... Here it is. Years of... But... Some... What? So what is... Did you... Well, explain yourself. You and your... How did you do it? But it must... You have something at your college, don't... Well, that's... Instead of... What's... Pure... The... Even if all... So fine. This is not over. I assure you.
I don't know. Excellent.
After load warping back to the college, I'm going to again put that scroll of chain lightning into this barrel here to perform scroll duping again. It's going to be very helpful.
I think the college is due for a change in leadership.
Against these magic anomalies that happen, that are terrorizing Winterhold.
What's going...
And...
Are you all right? I need you on your... Ankano is doing something with that thing, the eye. We can't...
What's happened? Are you all right? He's not.
Now it's time for us to actually kill the Emperor. Try to horse tilt, get some height with these rocks, and land, hopefully, that we didn't have enough speed.
What was that?
Probably should not have unequipped Perfume Lightning there. Part of the reason we do this in disorder is that we still have the skeleton key and can pick this master block.
And once more, I...
Well...
Aha! You're back. I know.
Never understood how the game expects us to just carry those 20,000 septums. But I guess most players most of the time are also carrying tens of thousands of septums. I'm pretty sure in Valor, gold coins are actually supposed to be enchanted to be completely weightless. But I'm also really not sure how that's supposed to work from a storage standpoint. But also your character has 300 pounds of carry weight anyway, and can still do combat and all that, so whatever. I feel like all of these load warps out of Volenrund are frame perfect. This is literally a solid minute of constant failed load warps, I think. This is definitely what killed the chance at this run being officially a world record, but still 10 seconds away. Yeah, my nerves were definitely
He may be-
hitting for this one. Finally got that load warp. I think it took us all 2 minutes.
Well, wish I could. Tolfdir and I can try and keep. What? Are you? That can't be a coincidence. The he told me it was from.
Apparently this load warp is also frame perfect. There are probably ways that I can reorder the stuff that you do in this run to make fewer of the load warps frame perfect, and that's definitely something that I'm going to look into. Now I just realized I gotta re-equip those Scrolls of Chain Lightning. Which is why I shouldn't have switched to Flames to kill the Emperor. There, finally got that load warp. The devs really didn't want us skipping to the end of this dungeon, which is why they put not 1, not 2, but 3 doors that you're not supposed to be able to go through if you enter the back exit. But the first one you can skip with a simple backwards one-handed sneaking power attack. The second one you can do by horse tilting through this gated door at a high speed, and I just broke the game there. Horse tilting through this gated door at a high speed. Usually you have to be turned at a weird angle to do it, but that seemed to work. That doesn't really seem to work with other gates with that same model, just that door specifically. Because Labyrinthian is what's called a world space in this game, every time I quick save quick load, I get a loading screen, which usually doesn't happen, but that does mean that it's a little bit slower to do things like activate infinite sprint. We're absolutely destroying this level 50 enemy with our infinite scroll of chain lightning. Now we're going to finish all 4 quest lines pretty much, starting with the Thieves Guild quest line, where we load warp into the Twilight Sepulchre to return the skeleton key. I think I'm above 25 health here, so I'm gonna have to make a safety save and then load warp.
I don't recognize the last of the Nightingale. We were betrayed. Perhaps if I had been more... How do you know of me? The king and Mercer Frey? I owe you a great... Were I... My only regret is... Carla, I feared she'd be... From the moment I... When Mercer stole... I'm afraid...
Gonna load a save and reload to unload and to deload and reload this bucket so that it becomes static, so that the physics behave more nicely.
Does someone live?
These enemies are like level 46 and can absolutely one-shot me. The rare case of an endgame dungeon in Bethesda game actually having high-level enemies even when the player is low level. And if I stay in combat with these people when entering the last room with Nocturnal, then Nocturnal will just bug out and it'll just skip over for dialogue, which did luckily happen in this run. Also, I did not mean to nearly die for fall damage there.
Must have scared him off.
Couldn't seem to find Carlia there. Yeah, Carlia's
I'm
invisible.
glad you... Nocturnal seemed quite pleased. I wouldn't think of her. I assure you. The crescent moon represents... This is... If you ever be warned that once you've now, you're the guild. I only hope that this isn't an end. Why, perhaps...
Load warp out, finish the college quest line. Well, not finish the college quest line just yet. Got another frame perfect load warp here. First, we finish the Dark Brotherhood questline. After we get our payment for killing the Emperor, we just gotta turn it into Nazim. Sorry, not Nazim, Nazir.
Well, what truly could this... Now, of course, I must... Ha! Now.
And now we finish the college questline, now that we destroyed the barrier.
Stop.
Hit. Hey. Dare challenge me?
We knew. Your victory here justifies... The eye has grown unstable.
Now, before we finish the Companion's quest line, what we need to do right now is install the Dawnguard DLC. So you'll notice by taking the Glenmore Witch Head, we skipped half of the Companion's quest line, but we also skipped the part where the Underforge opens, and we need to go to the Underforge to complete this quest line. But for some reason, if you have the Dawnguard DLC installed, then at this point in the questline, when you need to go in,
you're back.
Then the Underforge just opens. The reason why we don't have the DLC installed for the entire game is it would add literally 10 minutes of loading screens, so we just enable it at this point in Varan.
And as the one who... The rest...
This is getting very tense because it's
This is the resting
barely
place of
possible for me to get world record at this point, but I think I knew at this point that it wasn't going to happen.
You should be cautious.
For Godlack! For Godlack! For God... For God... For Godlack!
Greeting. Of course. You see, I'd wait, and they all see you. Did he not? Greeting, Shield Sister.
Take the shield, sister.
Timing
And
ends
I thank
when
perhaps
the quest is
perhaps
officially marked
and
as
lead the
completed, which
companions
happens
to
right when
further
Godlike
glory.
disappears. And that is the All Guilds category. This officially is the RTA world record, 1 hour 34 minutes 58 seconds. I'll be putting a 1 hour 45 minute estimate for this, but I really don't think I'm going to need all that time. In fact, I'm probably going to go very close to, if not below, this 1 hour 34 minute run. I'm also definitely going to be implementing that particular NPC mind control glitch into this run, and also going to try to find ways that I can reorder the endgame of a run so that I have less of those frame perfect dead warps. Hopefully have Kronos on commentary and whoever else I can get, and I will also be submitting the Ebony Warrior as a bonus incentive. So thank you for watching, and see you in Pittsburgh in January.